For years, I've hated Buzzfeed. For their clickbait articles that they claim aren't clickbait, their tendency to plagiarize, the fact that they don't do any research and post articles claiming ridiculous things like how you can sell your old Game Boy for $1,500, and their need to create the same unoriginal pieces of shit over and over to appeal to dumb fucks who are nostalgic for things that happened 10 years ago. How many fucking times can you mention anti-skip technology on personal CD players? But this has been going on for so long that I'm almost bored of hating BuzzFeed for these reasons. Luckily, this week, they gave me all new reasons to hate them. Buzzfeed Canada, who one would have thought to be the polite branch of BuzzFeed that apologizes for all the stuff its American counterpart posts, employs a woman by the name of Sachi Cole. She's a senior writer, which can't be saying much since I'm pretty sure the Stoperas are both senior writers for BuzzFeed America, and they just post stolen memes and call it writing. They're giving the title of senior writer away for a pack of Skittles there. So anyway, Sachi posts on her personal Twitter on behalf of BuzzFeed that they're looking for some new staff members. 1. Would you like to write long form for at BuzzFeed Canada? Well, you can! We want pitches for your Canada-centric essays and reporting. Ah, cool, they want a Canadian to provide some crappy pseudo-journalism for BuzzFeed. Well, they want pitches. I mean, they're really pretending they're a serious organization that you have to audition for. Okay, well, hey, maybe I'll give it a shot. I could spew out some drivel about the evolution of poutine for a few loonies and toonies, eh? Get some gas money for my care. So, where do I sign up, eh? 2. At BuzzFeed Canada would particularly like to hear from you if you're not white and not male. Well, fuck my caribou and call me Caillou. I'm both of those things. So, you want a Canadian writer who can write about Canada, but you want to exclude about 40% of Canadians, possibly closer to 81% if you said no white people at all, not even women, which this post isn't clear on. What if I'm one of those two things? Is that okay or is that not okay? An and statement suggests both of those things need to be met in programming, but this could mean that they don't want any white people and no males, which actually narrows it down even further. But let's just say no white people. That's fine, you believe they've had their voices heard. Time to give the other 19% a chance. Personally, I'm not one for affirmative action. I believe the best person for the job should always be chosen, regardless of race, gender, creed, sexual orientation, etc. I don't want a kinda qualified doctor that sorta knows what they're doing to be checking me for rectal cancer that the hospital chose because they wanted to look good and diverse on staff photo day. But this is fucking BuzzFeed we're talking about. Who really gives a shit who's writing for them? They're a joke anyway. Of course, there may be tons of minorities who can write better than white people. I wouldn't doubt it. I've seen some of you white people in the comments section. You fucking suck at typing up them there good words. So, it can be left there, right? Hire Julie Wong to write an article about this year's maple syrup output and what that could mean for your pancakes, whether she's a 20-year journalism veteran or fresh out of school with a communications degree. 8. Last thing. If you're a white man upset that we are looking mostly for non-white non-men, I don't care about you. Go write for Maclean's. So there were 6 other posts between this one and the previous one I read, which have been lost because Sachi deleted her Twitter account after all of this, and I'm sure she got tweets that antagonized her to this point. But, you know what never helps? All caps telling white men that you don't care about them and to stereotype them by saying that they should go write for Maclean's, which is a more serious and far more well-respected publication than BuzzFeed Canada, so not sure who you're insulting here, but it goes on like this, with a tweet where she oh so graciously gives Whitey permission to try out for the T-ball team. White men are still permitted to pitch. I will read it. I will consider it. I'm just less interested because, ugh, men. Ugh, men. And here we have our first indication that what we have here isn't someone altruistically looking to help out others. It's just someone who's just an angry, man-hating stereotype. The type that gives actual people fighting for equal rights a bad name. Then, we get a little free-form poetry, or something. White men get huffy when you don't actively encourage white men to do stuff, because white men think They are owed everything. No one feels owed anything. They'd like a chance to be considered for a job like anyone else. You think they're huffy because you didn't actively encourage them, and not because instead you actively discouraged them? Or because of the "Ugh men" statement previously? Or the all caps "I don't care about you" line before that? Nope, it's probably just because white men are entitled pricks. That's all it could be. That's all it ever is. Fuck white people. White men are bad. Giving ignored voices preferential treatment is not racism against white people. It is an attempt to fix all of history. Saatchi is going to fix history by getting a black woman to write some article about why Toronto Maple Leaf fans are so loyal, even though their team is such a loser year after year. Except, you can't fix history. You can't change the past. It already happened. History sucked. It always has, for everyone. White men have had it easier, no doubt. That is, if you don't count all the getting sent around the world to die for various causes parts of the last century, but that was kind of their choice. But all you can do now is move forward. And apparently, Saatchi feels the best way to do that is to be extremely aggressive toward all white dudes, as if some experience she had where some pale-faced douchebag at a party asked if he could fuck her to the soundtrack from Slumdog Millionaire means we're all bad people. And finally, just to make sure we all know where she stands, haha, anyway, ban men, literally throw them all in the garbage. Literally, throw them all in the garbage. It's this type of militant feminism that doesn't help the cause at all. We get it. You hate men. And before all this, she made a whole bunch of comments about white people on Q. It's a CBC radio show. You might have heard of it. Its previous host has been in the news just a little bit lately around here. Anyway, I listened to the audio, and in 8 minutes, she negatively referenced white people like at least 8 times. It was about some bizarre morning workout class. Had nothing to do with race. And I wish she hadn't deleted her Twitter account. You'll have to take ol' honest Buckley's word for this, but her Twitter had tons of disparaging comments about white people and men before all of this happened. So, she's just as bad as the bigots she hates. 2 wrongs don't make a right. They don't fix history, and they certainly don't help the present or the future. But remember, you can't be sexist towards men, and you can't be bigoted towards white people. And somehow, that's how equality works. She deleted her Twitter account because of the angry backlash, which, did you think that wouldn't happen? What if you wrote a post saying, "We're looking for not black and not women," or "We want not Asian and not trans"? All the white privilege in the world wouldn't save a person's job then, unless of course it was for a writing job at Clan Quarterly. And was it shitty that people were sending her threats or saying stupid shit about how her boss should rape her? Yes, of course it was. Those men don't fucking help their cause either. Bunch of goddamn motherfucking idiots. But they're a vocal minority of shitty humans, and they don't mean all white men are entitled and disgusting. And that doesn't excuse her behavior. Like, oh, you punched someone in the face, but then someone punched you in the face, so now you're the only victim. We should only feel bad for you. Meanwhile, as of writing this, Buzzfeed still keeps this person employed, and potentially gives her some sort of authority over human resource matters, apparently. And to that I say, good for Buzzfeed. Please, keep her. If you've already fired her, please hire her back. And pay her well. I want her to make enough of a living there that she never has to get a real job in the real world with real people. Please keep her there. I'm asking politely. As a Canadian, please don't fire her. Please don't force this brand of terrible on another company. Pretty please with maple syrup on top. Plus, I can think of no worse punishment for a writer than to be stuck working at Buzzfeed for the rest of their career.